Hi, I'm Ian. One of the most frequently used features across programming is the array. Arrays typically contain a list of items, and as a programmer, you're going to need to know how to deal with the data inside of those lists. In today's video, I'm going to take you through some of the most useful array methods available in JavaScript. Let's take a look. Okay, so we're going to be working with an array of superheroes here. So you can see inside the array, I've got a selection of objects, and inside of each object, we have a name, a universe, and an age. So the first method we're going to take a look at here is the for each method. To illustrate how you would do this without using an array method, I'm going to show you a for loop, which you might be familiar with. So as you can see here, we create the for loop. We set an index of 0. As long as that index is less than the length of the superhero data array, we're going to increase the index by 1 as we loop through the data. So inside the for loop, we grab each hero by using superhero data and the index, and then we can console log the name of that hero by accessing hero.name. Now, if we want to use a for each method to do the same thing, we simply grab superhero data, and on the end of that, we add for each, and each hero we're mapping over, we can console log that hero name. Every callback that you pass into an array method can also take an index. So you can see here in the next example, we're going to create the same for loop. We add an index and we can console log out that index, and you can see it starts from 0. So it counts up 0, 1, 2, 3, and each one we're logging out the age of that superhero. The next method is the one that you'll probably use the most frequently. This is the map method. So we're going to use map to get the names of each superhero and return that in an array. Now the difference between for each and map here is that for each simply does a loop over each element of the array, whereas map will return a new array with the data that you ask it to return. So here we're creating a new array called superhero names, and we map over each element in that array, and then we return the name. So when we console log that out, you can see that there's an array now with the name of each superhero. So with map, you saw that we returned a new array. With find, we're actually returning an element inside of the original array. Here we take the same structure, we do superhero data.find, we iterate over each hero, and the return statement here is actually a condition that we're looking to match. So if we want to find Black Widow, and we want to return the whole object for Black Widow, including her name, the universe, and her age, we can tell the array method here to find hero.name equals Black Widow, and that returns one element of the array. If there is no Black Widow in there, it's just going to return undefined. Filter is similar to find, except it returns an array of values. This time we're going to filter over the superhero data, and we're going to iterate to find heroes that are 100 years of age or older. So you can see that if we console log this out, it returns an actual array because there could be multiple of these. If the condition only matched one superhero, it would still return an array. That array would just have one element into it. Now the sum method is useful if you want to test if an array has any element that matches a condition. So instead of it returning an array or an element, this is actually going to return a Boolean. So you structure this the same way as you might structure a filter or find, where you're providing a test that it needs to match. And this test, in this case, we're going to check if there are any superheroes in this array that are called Thor. So again, we're iterating over the data. We're checking if any of them have the hero name of Thor, and we console log that out, and you can see that it returns true, that Thor is in fact in that superhero array. If we were to map over that same data and ask if hero.name equals Iron Man, that's going to return false. Now you might have heard of includes, and you're wondering, can I just use includes? What's the difference between includes and sum? And in this case, includes only tests for that actual element. It's not going to work if the array contains objects. So what we do here first is we can map over the superhero data and return an array of superhero names. You can then check if the superhero names includes Thor. So the result is the same, but it's not as powerful as sum. Every is very similar to sum, except it'll check if every element in the array matches that condition. So here we're checking if all of these are DC heroes by checking the hero.universe equals DC. Some of them are Marvel, so the result is actually false. Now reduce is a more complicated array method. It's very powerful, but myself, when I need to write it, I often check an earlier implementation that I've done of it just to remind myself how it works. So I like to write reduce in this format. I'm going to first create a reducer, and that takes two arguments. The first argument is the accumulator, which is the end result, and the second argument is the hero, so it's the item that we're iterating over. And what I'm going to do here with this reduce method is I'm going to combine all the ages of all the superheroes into one number. Think about it as reducing all the ages into one age. So I've created my reducer, and then I'm going to assign combined ages to the superhero data.reduce, and I pass in that reducer as the first argument, and the second argument is 0, and 0 is my accumulator. So that's basically the first value I want to start the addition with. So if you look again at the reducer, we're taking the accumulator, which is 0, and we're taking the hero. And then we start with 0 plus the hero age. So that's how you start calculating from 0 upwards, and here's the result that you get. The last method I'm going to show you today is sort, and the reason that this is last is because it actually mutates the original array. So most of the other ones you can see they create new values, like a new array, returns a new element, or returns a Boolean. Sort will actually sort the array in place. So here we take the original array, superhero data, and we call sort on it, and it takes two arguments, A and B, and it does a comparison, A.age minus B.age, and it does that over all the elements in the array to sort the data as you have asked it to. So if I console log this out, you can see that the superhero data is now sorted by age. If you want to sort this the reverse, you just need to do B.age minus A.age. So there you have it. Hopefully you've learned something new today. If so, let me know by clicking the like button below, and I'll see you in the next video.